Wubba lubba dub dub, motherfuckers. What is going on, everyone? It is I, everyone's favorite jack of all trades, with the foul mouth, Common Urban, and welcome back to another awesome fucking video, guys. I greatly appreciate it, y'all. I really fucking do. And before I do begin with this one, I want to give a big fucking special shout out to all of you guys, my viewers and subscribers, for sticking around watching all this shit. That's the reason why I fucking do this for all of you guys, so yeah. And anyway, before I do begin, I just want to ask a big favor of anyone, of all of you. Please subscribe. I want to get to 1,000 subscribers for the end of the fucking year, and that would be awesome if we could do it, so let's go ahead and do it, guys. That'd be fucking awesome, so yeah. And today is going to be another awesome book review, because we're going to be reviewing another book about this amazing ship here, the Kriegsmarine battleship DKM Bismarck. And this is my model that I've been working on her from Revell 1 to 350th scale. As you guys can see, she's in real, she's almost finished. Like I said before, I just gotta get the wire and stuff to do the rigging, get the flags, and there's some decals I want to get to tie everything together, and it's gonna be awesome as fuck. So anyway, the last book that we did a review of about the Bismarck was titled The Loss of the Bismarck. So in this book that we're going to be reviewing today, this particular book, the title of this book is The Destruction of the Bismarck by David J. Bercuson and Holger H. Herwig, and it was published by the Overlook Press, and it was published around 2001. And the contents of this book include the acknowledgments, maps, prologue, Chapter 1, the battleship Bismarck, the pride of Hitler's navy, Chapter 2, Rhine exercise, the march to the Denmark Strait, Chapter 3, the King's ships by Tovey's men, Chapter 4, deadly encounter, Chapter 5, hot pursuit, Chapter 6, Roosevelt's dilemma, Chapter 7, search and destroy, and Chapter 8, the kill, with the epilogue, notes, glossary, table of equivalent naval ranks, note of sources, and index. Basically, this book, just like a lot of the other ones, basically goes through the entire, Bismarck saga. But unlike a lot of other books, which kind of skim over all the major parts of the Bismarck saga, this particular book actually dives into a lot of the different things of the Bismarck saga in depth. Even though there is 8 chapters in this book is thick as fuck. So it goes into a lot of explanation on a lot of different things. So, like with the battleship Bismarck, it goes into a lot of the background story about the Bismarck. And a lot of things about like the design, the construction, her launch, and a lot of the technical data that people like me really enjoy. And of course, the Rhine exercise, a lot of the planning and stuff behind it, and of course of trying to get out to the Denmark Strait. Chapter 3 about the King's ships, but Tovey's men actually talks about several of the major ships that played a role in the Bismarck's chase and sinking, like the Prince of Wales, the Hood, the King George V, the Rodney, Dorsetshire, Captain Vivian's destroyers of the 5th Destroyer Flotilla, the Norfolk and Suffolk, and a lot of the different men involved, including a pretty decent history on the C&C of the Home Fleet, Admiral John Croven Tovey. Pretty awesome. Of course, deadly encounters, a more in-depth look at the battle of the Denmark Straits between Bismarck and Prince Eugen and Hood and Prince of Wales, which we know how that fucking ended. And of course, Roosevelt's dilemma. This was a chapter that really interested me because at this point in the war, America was still fucking neutral. But at Winston Churchill's asking, Roosevelt actually said okay, yes, to a few things, including having a base up near Iceland, which is kind of weird, and also of doing patrols of the North Atlantic, pretty close to where the Bismarck was at. And even though they were classified, and the U.S. Navy classified them as training exercises, they were patrols to look for German warships. And two of the ships that were used to go out and come back to patrol for the German warships, was the old World War I era battleships, USS New York, and her sister, the USS Texas, which we know USS Texas is a museum ship now, being restored. But just think about it for a moment. The USS Texas at one point actually was at sea, pretty close to where the Bismarck was at, or would have been at had she broke out into the Atlantic. So just imagine a fight between the New York and the Bismarck. Yeah, that wouldn't have went too fucking well. Even though the New York had 10 14-inch guns, the Bismarck had 8 15-inch guns, and a lot better armor and shit than the Texas. Don't get me wrong, the Texas is an amazing battleship, but the Texas would have been so fucked. Instead of being a museum ship, she would have been a pile of junk on the bottom of the ocean, and we would have been drugged into the Second World War because of that, had that have happened. Thankfully it didn't. In Chapter 7, Search and Destroy, about the search attempts, and also the Swordfish torpedo bombers, as they got a lucky hit on her Achilles heel, which is the rudder, and of course the kill. And as you are reading this book, what these two men here, if I go back, David Bercuson and Holger Herwig, they really went through all the information to get as much in this as possible. And see, there's a picture of the HMS Kozak, one of the destroyers from the Force Destroyer Flotilla, operated by Captain Philip Vivian. She was one of the Tribal class destroyers were some of the most powerful destroyers in the world. And of course, torpedo bombers on the deck of the Victorious for the first torpedo bombing. That was unsuccessful. There's a torpedo bomber. And there's the Bismarck after her fight with the Prince of Wales, fighting during the battle at the Denmark Strait. There's a really awesome picture of her in a Norwegian fjord with Prince Eugen in the foreground. Bismarck leaving Blommenvoss. And there's U-556. This is a very important U-boat because this U-boat was being built at the same time as the Bismarck is right there. And she was commanded by Captain Wolfhard. Yeah, that's pretty interesting history between those two ships and the two captains. Right there's the Achilles heel. This is what fucked Bismarck over. Torpedo hit right in this area and did a whole shit ton of damage here, and that's why she got fucked. And of course, the famous picture of Hitler as he's leaving the Bismarck. Everybody's favorite angry Austrian house painter. It's funny. There's a picture of Captain Ernest Lehmann, the commanding officer of the Bismarck. Good picture of him. And of course, Gunther Luchens inspecting the Prince Eugen. And this gentleman right there, that is First Officer Captain Hans Ols. And And that's Eric Raeder, the Grand Admiral of the Kriegsmarine, congratulating Hitler on his 51st birthday. I would not want to shake hands with that bastard. I'd get cold chills. Captain Helmuth Brinkman of the Prince Eugen. And of course, Force H, which included Renown, Malaya, and Ark Royal. And there's Repulse. And there's Renown. And this was taken from the hood. And of course, there's New York. See, this is one of the two ships. See, there's New York. New York and Texas. And these two ships, like I said, faced off against terror. They would have been fucked. And there's King George V. And in the background right there, that is the USS Missouri. Of course, the hood as depicted in this painting, with the Prince of Wales sailing around. Hood. Prince of Wales. Of course, you know, later the same year, Prince of Wales was fucked by Japanese bombers. And of course, there's Roosevelt. And there's Prime Minister Winston Churchill. And there's a bunch of other gentlemen here back. I don't really know who they were. Prince of Wales, not Prince of Wales, but Prince Eugen, with their Baltic camouflage, which I'm going to be painting my model to look just like that. And the Swedish light cruiser Gotland. Basically, when I got done reading this book, it took me like 4.5, 5 days to read this. I was pretty impressed. It was loaded with a lot of fucking information that was new to me. Pretty much new to me. I didn't know it was a lot of new information to me, because like I said, I've been reading a lot of Bismarck books. As you can see, there's the other three I've been reading. But this book had a lot of information and then some, like one little quip. It was in chapter 8, The Kill, where it's talking about how Admiral Tovey wanted the Rodney to get in closer so he could see more hits on the Bismarck. At one point, he was yelling at someone, said, go grab me my dart. Let's see if I can use them to sink her. I mean, that's pretty fucking hilarious. I can just imagine him throwing his fucking darts at. It's like, these ain't fucking doing anything. But overall, it's a really good book. I would give this book, The Destruction of the Bismarck, 2 thumbs up and 5 out of 5 stars. Great book. Very, very beefy. Very fucking meaty. But there's a lot of great information in this book, and I have to, you know, Mr. David Bercuson and Mr. Holger Herwig, they've done an amazing job with this book. It's definitely one I would buy a copy of to put on the old bookshelf. So, there you go, guys. That is my review of the book, The Destruction of the Bismarck, by David J. Bercuson and Holger H. Herwig. And I hope you guys enjoyed this book review. And if you have any questions or comments about anything, leave them in the comment section below and I'll get back with you. And if you're new to the channel, like the fucking shit I do, hit that fucking subscribe button, hit that damn notification bell, never miss another video from yours truly ever again. Until next time, this is Commodore Urban saying have smooth seas and clear skies. Happy sailing with all of you. God bless you all. Take care, stay safe, be yourselves. And Jesus and God love you all very much. And I'll catch you on a warm trade wind where hell anyone knows. And let's go, Brandon. Fuck Joe Biden and Trump 2024, baby. Yeah.